Welcome to part 2 of our conversation, in which we celebrate all the penises out there. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, please do. It's absolutely packed with great advice. It's where we discuss things such as if penis size and shape matters, how to help your men get harder erections, the difference between lovemaking and fucking, and your role in helping him pleasure you better. In this part 2, we dive even deeper into the secrets of manhood, including the fear of rejection, sexual energy, and multiple orgasms. We are sipping on Koolyburra Cabernet Sauvignon 2022 from the best site in Australia. It's a powerful, full-bodied red wine with a presence that is just as big as a good cock. Get your bottle from Aldi right now, pour yourself a generous glass, sit back, relax, and let us take you on a journey. Let's bounce.
As a woman, we can do a lot to be able to put that in. Women, we can be initiators. That makes sense. So, and again, this is something that's been lost, I think, because we very often as women, we're waiting for the man to do things to initiate.
Oh, God.
You're not the only one. I was the same too.
Oh, no.
Lay back and let a man penetrate me and hope at some point I'd get an orgasm. It's not supposed to be like that at all. We create connected to our emotions. We are much more playful and adventurous, and we can actually bring a lot more of that into lovemaking because often a man doesn't know how to bring that in. So women, because women and our vaginas and our sexual area is a creation. We create life.
Oh, yeah.
And we're natural creators. We're much more connected to the earth, to connection to creating things. So as women, and again, because we've been taught to be masculine, we step back and we wait for the man. But actually, we as women can initiate. So you can go out to your partner and give his penis love.
Oh, okay.
And touch and
yeah.
And a blowjob. But a blowjob, and again, this is interesting you talk about it because it reminded me of my ex-partner who loved deep throating. And I hate deep throating because I feel like some women love it. There's nothing wrong with loving it, but I couldn't ever get past the gagging reflex that happens with deep throating. But also I couldn't, and looking back, I realised there was another issue. I was doing it for him, but slightly resenting it.
Oh, okay.
Because I felt
which he must have felt.
Yes, and I think this comes back to the feeling and the emotion. Only do something if you really want to do it, even if your partner really wants you to do it.
Yeah.
And if you choose to take something on, choose to take it on with that loving, generous, adventurous playfulness, whatever works for you. Yeah. Because it is about lovemaking. It is about two people exploring. And I certainly know from when I was in that relationship, I felt like I did it, but I did it because he was insistent on doing it. I didn't really want to do it, but I thought I'd go along with it because it's something he really wanted. Yeah. And I went along with it.
Which makes both of you unhappy in a way, right? You do something you don't want and he feels that you resent, well, maybe not resent him, but he does feel that you're doing it against yourself. Yeah, and people never talk about this, but people, if you're doing stuff and you're putting up with stuff, the other person will feel it in some level, and it may never be talked about. But he will know, or she will know if it's the other way around. Yeah. Right. The one thing that is stopping me from, or making it hard for me to initiate, I feel, is the fear of rejection. So I want sex, or I want make love to my partner, but I'm too scared to approach him because maybe he's going to tell me that he's too tired or too busy or something, and it's going to hurt me at some level. So yeah, it's easy to just sit there and wait for it to come.
Because you won't get rejected.
Exactly.
I know, because I've done that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big one for women. I think we do feel rejection. And I think we have been rejected a lot in our pasts, and our past is also what plays out in the future. If we've been rejected a lot in the past, and very often from young, even babies, we experience rejection of some form. Where our parents weren't what we wanted them to be or whatever. So it can be very ingrained from a very young age. The main advice, really, I can say is talk about it with your partner.
Yeah, so again, communication.
I had a conversation recently with my partner, and this is quite recently, and I'm quite embarrassed because I teach this stuff. But recently I did say to my partner, I'm still noticing I'm holding back. And it's because I've not just fear the rejection, but I fear that I would do something that he wouldn't like, and that he would then get upset or not enjoy it. And so I'm in my head thinking, I can't do that because he won't like it, or I'm not sure he'll like it, so I don't do it. So I think talking to your partner, and I did at that point, I talked to him and shared that with him, and then we sort of came up with a plan, and it might not be the same for every person, this isn't a formula, but he said, well, look, I'm willing to give it a go, that to let you play out whatever you want to play out, and it might be upsetting for me, but I'm willing to go there with you, because I want you to be able to fully do whatever you want to do and not hold back.
It's a good partner to have.
I'm very blessed and very grateful for the partner I have. He's amazing. But and it might not be that you can have those kinds of conversations. I think being able to have those kinds of conversations does allow you to feel safer and secure.
Yes.
Even if it's just dipping your toe in the water and even talking about what you were talking about a few minutes ago about feeling rejection. Once it's talked about, there's something that makes possible when it's not talked about. Does that make sense? Yeah,
I think so. You voice your concerns or fears, etc. I think it creates a safe space.
It does.
So you feel like you can open up and go to places that you were scared to go before.
Yeah, and it may be you come up with, if I'm working with couples or working with people, we'd also design little exercises that that person or that couple could do to dip their toes in the water and play a little bit and play a little bit more. And so you're slowly moving. This isn't an all or nothing thing. It's not one day you're just going to be...
Baby steps is good enough.
Yeah.
And then I suppose with time you see it's working, you talk a little bit more, you feel safer, it gets better, and then it's just like a snowball effect.
With my partner coming up to 5 years now, and we're still working on this stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was only a conversation that happened in the last month, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and we've had little baby steps along the way. It's not like we haven't dealt with that, but there is still a part of me that holds back.
You should listen to yourself.
Thank you. I will. Coming back to the soft cock thing, because there's also something else that I don't think we've covered. Pelvic floor.
Oh, is that the Kegel exercises?
Yes. Although they're what I would say more generally, they're pelvic floor muscles. Now that is all about having the tone and the tightness and the ability to isolate muscles in your pelvic floor or your vagina area, so the vaginal muscles as well. So there's lots of different muscles, and you can learn through doing exercises like Kegels or equivalent But then, and the reason I'm bringing it into the soft cock is because by using those muscles when your vagina's round a penis can help him get harder.
Right, okay, so you just tense the muscles and he can feel it, so it's helping him to get harder.
Yeah. It allows him to feel, and men love it. If you're really tight in that area, men love it because they can feel more. So they feel more, they become not just harder, but they can feel more, last longer, and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, wow, okay. Good. I have it in my basket, Amazon basket, Kegel balls. So I think that's how they call it. So, yeah.
Well, there's lots of different types. There's jade eggs as well, which is
so you've
equivalent.
mentioned, yeah.
You can also just you don't need to use any gadgets. I was talking to a friend actually a couple of days ago, and she was talking about she has slight incontinence now, and which is also related to the pelvic floor. You can also get apps on your phone that support you with different exercises you can do. You can even get little games.
Really?
So I think you put a gadget in your vagina and it's connected to the app, and then when you squeeze, it makes this thing, this like little thing go up and down and move around and all that sort of stuff. So there's little games to try and encourage us to use to do those.
We have no excuse now but to exercise.
No, and I think I might have said this before, but I resist doing those exercises. They just feel like hard work. But I have to say the Popa Mori book, because feels to me like, because it's aimed at increasing sexual feelings. So it doesn't just support a man, it supports a woman as well. So the tightness of that area, it also moves energy up. When you tighten in, it moves energy up. So as a woman, it also supports our sexual function as well. So for me, it helps. It helps me not to be thinking I'm doing a boring exercise, but actually makes me feel sexual as well.
Okay, yes, you did mention that on the last episode that they create this state of arousal. Yeah. One question that I've got, which potentially could be life-changing for all the men, maybe even all the women.
Definitely women too, if it's the question you're I'm thinking you're thinking.
So we know that women can have multiple orgasms. Can men have that
they
too?
Can. This might be a shock for most men and for most women.
Because I know there are a lot of myths around it, right? And in films or anything that they propagate that myth that, multiple orgasm is the female thing. And men are so envious or jealous of that. It
is something that is quite a secret. Well, it's secret, but it's not so much of a secret anymore if you investigate tantric principles and things like that. But yeah, there is, it does take a while to master for men. So it takes a dedication for a man to be able to learn this, but there is huge, huge benefits for both him and his partner. So if you think about it in the scenario I did earlier, which is, man penetrates, ejaculates, and then rolls over and goes to sleep. Now that is a bit of a joke, but it actually is a reason behind why men often want to go to sleep after ejaculating.
Okay.
And I used to get so irritated with my partners that would do this. I'd be like, why are you going to sleep? And, you're bored of me or something. And I want to cuddle and I want more and I want more orgasms, and you just rolled over and gone to sleep. So this is huge for both sides. The first thing is to separate, to know that you can separate out ejaculation from orgasm.
Oh, wow.
It feels like, for a man, it feels like the two are connected.
Yeah.
And there's no separation. I have an orgasm, I ejaculate, and that's it. It's not true. They are two separate things that generally happen together, but they don't have to.
Wow. Okay.
So for a man, it is, first of all, understanding that they are separate things. then a man can start to think, actually, then how can I separate them out? Well, you can learn for a man, you can learn some principles around not ejaculating. And I'm not going to go into all of them here because we don't have time and stuff like that. But yes, a man can take the energy. So if we're talking about sexual energy, the reason ejaculation happens is because all sexual energy is culminating in the penis. And then all that energy is going there and it erupts like a volcano.
Right. Yes.
If you allow that energy to move around your body, as men can learn how to do, then they can also learn that they don't need to have that explosion of the ejaculation. And there are different techniques to do that. And I don't think this is the best way to do it. But one of the ways to do it is that you can use a similar muscle to the PC muscle for women, which is like a squeezing type thing, that then they can squeeze on the penis and it can stop the ejaculate coming out.
Right. So let's say you have this sexual energy accumulated in your penis, you feel like you want to ejaculate, and then you stop it.
You can physically squeeze the muscle that stops that happening.
So
now, I don't recommend that way, but it is useful then to be able to visualise
how it feels, separation.
Well, it's also the feeling of actually, oh my God, is no different to a woman learning how to stop her urine in some respects. It's a bit more of an explosion, but it's like, actually, there is a muscle that you can use. You squeeze it, the ejaculate's coming out of the pipe. I can't remember what it's called now. But it's not, so they can squeeze that and it stops the ejaculate coming out.
Right, but they still orgasm.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Now, it can be harder to orgasm that way because if you think about it, you're tensing up. So actually the way that I would recommend is actually learning to not have all the energy go into the penis, to allow energy to move around the body. And you can do that through techniques of breath and movement and stuff like that you can then learn to.
Right.
And then because the energy is not accumulating in that area, you can have an orgasm without needing to have that explosion.
Right, okay. Do you know of any articles, books, or anything that you can pass on to me?
I can probably dig. I mean, there's a book. There's a really good book out there called The Multi-Orgasmic Man.
Whoa.
Which talks about this. I'm not an expert in this area, obviously, because I'm not a man, but I can support men who want to learn this practice. But that's a really good book, and it goes through all of this in much more detail and how you would do it and stuff like that.
Okay, I'm going to have a look. So, the orgasm with ejaculation, the orgasm without ejaculation, those feel different and they consider different orgasms.
They're not, well, again, it's difficult to speak for a man because I don't know what it feels like.
Yeah.
I would say what we're talking about is probably more energy style orgasms, which from a woman's point of view, I do think they feel different. But then every different type of orgasm, when we looked at the fact that there was like 12 different orgasms for a woman, they all feel different because they're coming from different parts of the body, different erogenous zones. So the fact that it feels different doesn't mean to say that it's not orgasmic. Does that make sense?
Yes,
it's orgasmic, but it may feel slightly different
to what you know. Right.
But the benefits, as I was saying earlier, are huge. So this means for a man that he can carry on going for hours and hours and hours.
Oh yeah, benefits
so
for
both. I have lovemaking with my partner that can sometimes go on for like 10 hours.
Yes, you did say that.
Because, I mean, we're not necessarily doing penetration for that whole time, but the fact that we can, we can definitely keep going for, a few hours, right? So with penetration, because he can have orgasms and just carry on going. And so that benefits him because he's like having connection to his lover. He can feel amazing because he's having orgasms. As a woman, we feel great because we're getting much more satisfaction, much more connection.
Yes. And during those 10 hours, is it so you having multiple orgasms?
Yeah.
During those 10 hours. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And as I said, it might not be penetration for the whole 10 hours. It might be some of it's foreplay. It might be we have some penetration and then we pause for a bit.
Right.
And cuddle and then go back in and do more penetration.
Right. Okay. So is it that ejaculation actually stops men from having more orgasms, multiple orgasms in a way?
Penetration or ejaculation?
Ejaculation.
Yeah,
so if you have orgasm together with ejaculation and you ejaculate, then it is harder for a man to have an orgasm again within a short space of time.
The reason being is because they lose energy when they ejaculate.
Oh, okay. So
which is hence the reason for turning over and wanting to go to sleep.
Okay.
Is the ejaculation is a huge ejaculation of energy, which is exhausting for a man, which is why he either needs to take time to recover or he might not want to go again because he's too tired.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Wow. One last question I've got. Anything that we shouldn't be doing off the top of your head?
I don't like to think of there being anything off the table. Tantra considers that there is nothing taboo. Like there is nothing that you can't or shouldn't do. What I would caveat that with is if we're calling this lovemaking, then it is about love. And so it comes back to the shame thing earlier. And
not shaming.
Yeah, and I think we can inadvertently do this. As I was saying, I don't think any of us go out of our way to unless we're in the middle of an argument, we might say something that we regret. But I think that is one of the things that I'd just be careful of, especially as women, that we can say something to a man that we don't realise how hurt he can feel because they don't necessarily express hurt feelings in that way, but that actually a man can be very vulnerable and very emotional deep down, and and feel a lot of shame and upset, and to remember that as women. No, I don't think there's anything else off the table. There might be stuff you want to talk about. I used to love the rough stuff, and I still do a bit. But your partner might not like that as much as you do, and I think so. There is some. Again, we talk a lot about consent in our sessions. So very much talking about what you both like, making sure that you're clear. Does your partner want what you're about to do? Penises actually can be quite sensitive. So you can do a lot with them, actually. You can be quite rough with them and quite hard, but also you can be very, very gentle and loving and caring. And so, checking in with your partner about what they might like and what they might want is, I think, a really good thing.
Yeah, homework for everyone. Go and talk to your partner.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh wow. It's been amazing, really. I'm particularly blown away by the multi-orgasmic men, which I did not see coming. Anyway, thank you so much.
But she's going to be exploring.
I will be. I'll be looking for this book as soon as we turn the mic off. Right, thank you so much for your time, Melanie, and everyone. We will see you here in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.